Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Above the Bar podcast, a show about a middle-aged father, current events, and how these things affect my everyday life. Alrighty, folks, welcome to another episode of the Above the Bar podcast. It's your host, Sean. Today with us, we're talking game shows. We have our super fan, like our one true super fan, Tim, and
loser.
the only thing he listens to is us, loser. So we got Tim with us today. It should have been. We're trying to get Rick was going to be on the show, and I'm going to get him to try to ask customers questions about game shows at Walmart. He forgot completely about the show. Thank goodness he wasn't our only guest today.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to get Rick to jump on. There we go. We got a good morning from Gary, and I guess this is one of your buddies, Drew.
Yes. Dibs.
What did you call the man? Dents?
Dibs.
Oh, Dibs.
Drew Dibs.
Drew Dibs. Drew.
Part of one of my game shows, actually. One of my live game shows I had.
Nice. And then we have the woman going for sainthood.
Yes. My love.
Your love. She's got her in her picture. She has her white shirt on, so that's where the angel wings will go.
Absolutely.
But Tim is our resident game show expert. He has his own game show he even created. We're going to discuss that, and we're going to discuss some legendary game show moments. Different. I got more people showing up. Look, I might have to get you on here all the time. Or
that's what I'm talking about, brother.
Because I have all these people. I don't know.
I'm trying to get you to be famous. This was actually the partner of Dibs, who was part of my my game show, live game show again. So yeah,
well, that's awesome.
They're gonna light you up. I hope they do.
I'm all about it. Rick, I still can't get Rick to just turn it. He said he doesn't have his headphones on him, so I'm like, dude, we even got Cody. At least I know who this person is. I at least know Cody. Hello, Cody.
My partner.
Well, if you look, Cody, if you're looking at this real close, you'll see Tim still has lipstick, and it looks like maybe a little blush on right now. Look close. Do you see it? Because Tim was in his other persona, Samantha, earlier today.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Non grata.
Must have been one of my other multiple personalities that I have through the business.
Like, I have to tell you, one of my new favorite TikToks before we get into this is the guy sitting at the table, and he's always like, "Hey, man, take the schizophrenia medicine." And he's looking at himself, and the self goes, "Man, this stuff ain't going to work." And he takes the medication, and then it looks back at where the guy handed him the medication. There's nobody in the seat.
That's about right.
I love that one. Look, you know me, don't you? I do. Gary, I know you very well.
By the way, I was thinking that you're oh yeah, there you go. Well, it went really well, by the way. I was dressed as a woman today for my networking thing. I was actually looking to promote the show and to get a little bit of attention coming my way. And I figured the best way I can get attention was to dress up as a very pretty woman. And
you were yes, you were a woman. I'm not going with the term pretty. Like you look like you needed to sneak up on a glass of water. I'm not going with that at all.
It's also the beard, which had the cover up, which was even more brilliant. And so,
it was.
For those listening at home, I was doing something where I had the screen off the entire time so they couldn't see me, and I had this name Samantha, and they all thought someone was coming in late into the meeting. So all of a sudden, I popped on and said I wanted to talk about a venue instead of my business, and there it was. So why not?
Oh, it was great. So, well, let's get into tell everybody a little bit about the game show you created and how that worked, and then we're going to get into some legendary game show stuff because
sure.
My thing with game shows is, and I don't know if I think it's more like if you're in your late 20s, early 30s through. Game shows were like so important to you when you were sick or when you were it was like a snow day or something like that, because you waited and you were like, this is the only time I get to see this. This is like the adult thing to watch the game shows. So they really are a fabric. And then, I mean, you even look now on TV, the game shows, they make a big deal of, hey, this one is a prime time, Price is Right, prime time, let's make a deal. So there's
Yeah.
really a lot of history in some of these game shows to like I don't know if you knew this, but down here in the Albany area at the Palace Theater, they actually had live Price is Right, where like it was a tour show, like touring around the country before COVID.
Right, right. Yeah, and actually, a little thing before I forget about it. My father actually was on a game show, so I'm wondering if this is why somehow subconsciously I got into this. But he was actually on the Wheel of Fortune, and was not a winner. He was that guy at the house that was super annoying. There would be two letters, and he would guess the phrase and be, "What the hell?" You know. And but he was amazing at it, and he decided to do the run. The only thing was that he wasn't very good at doing the live thing. He got so super nervous and got caught up.
Oh, really?
And just like he actually went down to the Bahamas and did like one of those. They came through, just like you had mentioned with this, and that's the point where I was getting at. They had come through with the show and they had it in the Bahamas, and he was just taking vacation, wasn't thinking twice about it. Did the rehearsal or did whatever. They chose him to go to California. Went to California, and unfortunately lost on a very simple puzzle. But yeah, that's kind of where some of the ideas started with game shows.
See, I've always loved game shows. So tell everybody about the one that you created.
Oh, and by the way, Pat Sajak butchered, which he was always known for, being very good about naming towns, just like yourself. Butchered Glen Falls. You're from Glen Falls, New York. And by the way, you need to when you say you're picking on us New Yorkers. I'm going to stand first. New Yorkers right here and right now. You keep on saying what we say wrong. Use "oh" in a sentence.
What do you mean? Like, oh, look at that.
Not like, oh, look at that. Like, well, I'll use it in how you use it.
Okay. This should be interesting. What the?
My son is 11 years old.
Oh, you mean oh?
You don't say oh. You don't finish the D. You just say oh.
Oh, yeah, it's oh. 11 years old.
You're killing me, Smalls.
Oh, wait a sec. This because this is going to take that hard left for a moment here, folks. Here goes that hard left.
First shot. I'm sorry, we are in a drinking show here, so let's.
Oh, so Brandon, I am all about, for me. We did have our distillery series that ended, but I have the Telemardu, and Tim is rocking the Pick Six. We love Pick Six. He's got the plain. I'm a big fan of the strawberry. My wife liked the apple from Pick Six. Please go support local. Go check out Pick Six. I was actually just talking to the guys from New Scotland the other day, trying to hook us up with some stuff. Hey, water. Look, Drew, it's pronounced, you spelled it with a D. It's pronounced water. Got to get that right.
It's pronounced Woodkey. Vodki.
Woodkey. But yeah. What do you call grades 1 through 5? What do you call it? Huh?
Grades 1 through 5.
Yeah. When kids are, what type of school is grades 1 through 5? Begins with an E.
Oh, elementary?
Elementary.
I've heard you say this too many times. We're going to try to.
Oh, God. What is
elementary?
Oh, yes. You do have on your Miami Vice sports coat.
Oh, yeah, for sure. There's some of my peeps from the Amanda was my peeps from the chamber, as was Cheryl.
So Drew and I are going to become real close here real soon. Yeah, Drew, I did 20 years myself.
Yeah, and Drew, he was an O.
No, I was not an O in any way, shape, or form. As we used to say in the Marine Corps, I was as close to God as you got. I was a gunny.
I didn't realize what the language was. I had to look that up. An O is an officer.
Yes.
And if you're not an officer, you look at that person as like a, I guess if we can look at it in the business world, we look at them as a manager versus not a manager.
Right. Union versus non-union, any of those kind of things.
Yeah, all those.
Well, there's actually, as we are just hooking left hard today. Um,
Sorry, yeah,
that's okay, but there's actually a whole thing in an army manual that used to go around, and if you ever looked it up, and I'm going to paraphrase it because I don't remember exactly what it was, but it basically said something along the lines of that all officers should treat enlisted as backstabbing, cheating, lying scumholes that will basically do anything we can to take them out at a heartbeat. Like it had us yeah, exactly. We worked for a living. It just basically, said that like we were out to do you dirty in every way, shape, and form.
Yeah.
So to get back, let's bring it back onto the road here for a minute.
Yeah,
So tell me about your game show.
sure. Now, I want to clarify something. You said I created a game show, and technically speaking, I didn't. I just created the business that was all about it. I love the idea of doing games and game shows and making people laugh. That's kind of where I'm at in life. Okay, sorry, I'm getting distracted by the reading things too. But it's hard not to. But I really had a passion for games and for making people laugh. How can I do that and still make a living, Sean? I don't know. Let me quit my good paying job and start and be a game show host pre-COVID. That's a great idea, right? Well, I thought it is a great idea and still think it's a great idea. I have a lot of passion for connecting people, and I want to do it in a fun way. And so that's why I created a venue. It was simply for that reason, to connect people in a fun way and do something that I want to do myself and something that I can be proud of. So that's why I created the business, believe it or not.
Where's that? How did I lose a venue? Because I had that we talked about it. I must have created it and never made it. So let's try that again.
That's okay.
So the website where people can find you is what? Say the website.
Venue haha.
That's it.
Venue HAHA.com.
See, I had this all set up, folks, and through the power of technology, I went ahead and crapped all over that idea. There we go.
There we go. Thank you.
Look at that. And through the other side of technology, I fixed it. But so what is the concept of your game show?
Okay, so let me back up a little bit. So I started doing live games and wanted to be really the
just so you know, folks, those live games were him standing on the corner in drag, going, "Guess my underwear color."
No, my very first game show was a take on the Newlywed Game, but it was in couple style, so any couple could join. And it was a blast. I did it actually my brother's tavern, called The Tavern in Queensbury, and had a blast with it. Actually, the year before, did this very same game at the house as an impromptu, invited some people over. They had no idea what they were getting into. I disappeared half hour later. I was dressed up in Roger Diddles, or my alter ego, and that's where it began. And a year later after that, I started the business. And it was all about connecting people. And then, of course, when COVID happened, I had to start doing these things virtually. So I basically do virtual game shows, board games, and do it in a way to connect businesses, connect family, friends, and do it in an entertaining way. That's what I'm all about.
So this is something, if somebody's business wanted to jump in for like an icebreaker or an event to kind of bring folks together, since we can't really do holidays, in the house with each other, people can turn around and, hey, they can hit up Tim and say, "Hey, Tim, we're zooming this in. Can you come on and host our family to do a family game night kind of thing?"
Right. And it's exactly what I've been doing. And so I'm doing it for entertainment purposes, like the family, the friends and whatnot, but I actually took a different spin on doing it through learning, fundraising, and doing team building through the businesses. And that's where I'm having a lot of fun. Did some holiday parties, which was great. Did some late night networking groups, having a cocktail in hand and doing some games. And that's a lot of fun.
You drink? Yeah.
I do drink on the occasion. Yeah, sure. Why not? Actually, I'm ready to reload. But and not to get too deep on you, but the reason why I love game shows in particular is because I think they kind of imitate life, and they're imperfect and everything. And we were talking about these like scandals, and from one of the very first game shows, even back in the 50s, there was that movie that was made on it, and I'm gonna need your help here on this one. Was it quiz show? It was Van Doren and Stemple. Herb
Gary, I know
Stemple.
you're out there. What the hell was the name of it?
I think it was called The Show, and an excellent show on what was done to get ratings. And
It was all fixed, right?
What's that? It was fixed.
Yeah.
At first, it wasn't fixed, but then they asked Stemple to take a dive so they can have the more attractive Van Doren take his place, and Stemple didn't really agree to that wholeheartedly, and there was some controversy behind that. And you're still pouring?
Well,
So
that was Telemar doing then this. I mean,
no, I'm just kidding. So yeah, so I love how it's integrated with life. You know, game shows aren't just innocent. You're not just winning money and walking off.
no.
The game show hosts are corrupt. There's been murderers on the show. There's been all this
murders. Hold on, go back to murders. I never heard about any murders.
Oh, so going back to the dating game. So someone else. I'm not great in details, so that's the one thing you have to. But I think his name was Richard Acula, and he was a serial killer, and he made it on the show.
Yes. Okay, I know what you're talking about. Yes.
She wanted to go on the date with him because she thought he was creepy. So she figured that out and decided not to go. How crazy is that?
Was it Zodiac?
Not the Zodiac, but he had some.
I know what you're talking about.
Name. He looked like Jim Morrison. A little bit of an Indian looking, or kind of a long face, kind of. Yeah.
I know one of my 4 listeners is. There's 10 of you today. Thanks, Tim, for bringing everybody.
I'm trying to bring more people.
Glenn's
I'm
Falls.
going to be your sidekick for future shows. That's where I'm kind of digging into. I'll write your material, some funny stuff. Rodney, there's Dibs helped out here.
Yep, Rodney Acula. So I remember that one. See, the one I always thought about when we were first kind of talking about the idea of it, some of the ones that came to mind to me was from Gong Show, because we were talking about Chuck Barris.
Oh, yes.
From Gong Show. So that one actually has 2 interesting. Look, Drew is on this.
7 women. Yeah. That was
1970s. That guy killed 7 women. Yeah. So Barris was an interesting one to me. So it's considered also as it's like the first show on like national TV where a woman was topless. If you go on to and look up Gong Show topless, like at the end of the show, they used to just like run around and do crazy dances and all these different things. Well, one of the contestants on the show completely took her top off while the cameras were rolling and was just in the back, Tata's akimbo. Just bloop, there they are.
You know, the best part about that show too was I don't know if you know another little factoid about the show was Chuck Barris at I think it was the very last episode and the very last act was him performing.
Yes, he used to dress. Yes,
and then he actually it was an FU to the execs. He actually gave a middle finger, which was taken out, but he gave a middle finger because I think the show was either being canceled or something had happened. He wasn't agreeing with, and that was his exit.
Now, is that why you think Mike Myers, when he brought back the Gong Show, dressed in costume?
And by the way, I saw that, and it was almost like my women thing today with Samantha. Just for a half a second, I thought to myself, something isn't right about this guy. I looked closer, and I'm like, that's Mike Myers. Holy cow, that's Mike Myers. And they didn't credit him, and they didn't say anything about that on the show, which was kind of crazy. And it was so funny. I caught that. I didn't even know how there's so many, by the way, there's so many game shows out there. So many things I've caught. I wanted to mention something quick because I don't want to forget about it. There's the sadistic game shows. The game shows where I honestly thought that the game show host, loved just screwing with the contestants. And one of the ones that comes to mind, aside from like Wipeout and what were some of the other ones? Wipeout. What was the other ones where they actually gave torture to the contestants?
Well, you had Wipeout, the Fear Factor.
Factor. But it was almost like a humiliation. I'm trying to think.
There was the one where like they would run and really even the ones that are supposed to be athletic when
American Gladiators.
Yeah.
They're getting pummeled.
So thank you, Cody.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Cody said, "Thank goodness we have good voices." I somehow have to explain that one to me. 90 Days to Self-Love.
It's about good things. You wouldn't know about it. It's about good
It's
things.
good
Yeah,
vibes.
yeah,
Yeah,
good
I
vibes.
don't know good things.
But
Look at who I'm interviewing today.
but
Um,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
but so funny one about that is so where I went to high school at in Baltimore, very unique high school, and I'll never forget. I was like maybe a sophomore in high school, and do you remember the guy on that show? He went by Titan. He was
Uh,
the white guy, real tall, blonde hair.
yes, actually, I do remember him. Believe it or not, I know a lot of those characters. Laser. I know
Yes.
there's real mean guys on there too that enjoyed pummeling the contestants.
So my high school gym teacher, Mr. Saunders, who was like one of these guys, it was like the very prototypical 5'5", 100 pounds soaking wet with rocks in his pocket kind of guy who like all of us feared him. And he
Yeah.
just walked around with this scowl on his face at all times. And I'll never forget end of gym class one day, we were all just talking about the show for whatever reason. And he was like, that Titan guy, he's on steroids. And we're like, how do you know? He went to our high school. I had no idea. He went to our high school, and Mr. Saunders was like, he was a real tall, skinny kid. He was never that big. That's all steroids.
Oh, really?
Like,
Is that funny?
I was like, what? You called him out right here in gym class. Nobody else knows it but us. And I just put it out for the other 4 listeners. So.
I had a feeling a lot of those people who were on the show were like that. But the one show that I have to admit that I loved watching as a young adult was Double Dare with Mark Summers.
Absolutely.
And he loved watching the parents slip and fall. And I'm like thinking, where are all these lawsuits? Even as a kid, I'm thinking this. And you know, people popping balloons and then falling on their ass. And it was a great show. I really loved that.
Well, we were talking about this earlier, and maybe you know it offhand, and I'm trying to think of it right now. But there used to be a Nickelodeon game show where they played video games. Do you remember that? See, so they had one. Let's see if I can.
I don't know why I'm not. It's not coming offhand. It doesn't mean that I haven't watched it, but I just not coming to
So,
mind.
so this was the name of it. It was called Nick Arcade. It aired.
I didn't see it.
Let's see. So that was the host.
Okay, I remember.
But it was called Nick Arcade, and I remember the show because they would come up and they would the kids would play video games, and then after a while and I think that might not even been maybe it was the original one. I think there was another one, but Nickelodeon used to have a ton of game shows. Legend Legend Temple, something. What the hell was that show? I'm just look. I just
A lot of the later stuff. I'll be honest with you. I was only a Nickelodeon kid for a little bit, so I missed some of the later stuff. And by the way, you're prompting our next show down the road for video games. Just saying.
I can look. I can definitely talk video games. Also, uh, look, Drew knew it. Nick Arcade. He said he wanted to be on there so bad. So you know what? Let's just as a sidebar to all this, because Nickelodeon used to have such family legend. That's it. Legend of the
Double Dare. Oh, like I said, one of my favorite shows.
But let's go through these top 10 that somebody listed for the top 10 game shows on Nickelodeon. See if you and I even know these. This just came out of the blue, so this is completely off the cuff. I don't remember this one. I was already in the Marine Corps, and this is long past my time. You were probably still in high school. Slime Time Live.
I remember Slime Time. Slime. It was the whole thing from the "you can't do that on television" I think thing spin.
Got it. This one I definitely don't know. Finders Keepers. Definitely don't know this one. That one's got me. What else we got here? Wild and Crazy Kids. I do remember that. And this kid right here, like, see if you this kid right here. You remember him? The real tall one? He did like a bunch of stuff. I don't know his name. Let's see if they got his name here.
Yeah.
No name. Get the Picture. I remember that one. That was sort of like a Pictionary show that they had. Let's see. Do you look so far any of these? What Would You Do? I remember that.
Yes, I do remember that. I do remember that.
But as I'm going back through here's Nick Arcade. None of these were very God. Why did we like these? There's figured out. I just Drew. They put figured out's number 4 on the list. None of these were good. There's Guts. He brought up Guts. That was number 3. That was like the kids' version of American Gladiator. Number 2, Family Double Dare. How long do you think that show ran?
Double Dare ran for a number of years, and then they did a reboot of it for a little bit, if I'm not mistaken. So it ran for like what, 10 years more?
86 to 93. And then Legend of the Hidden Temple is considered on these people by the number 1. It's American Gladiators meets Young Indiana Jones Chronicles is the way they're calling it. And it ran 2 years. So I guess I never realized that. I mean, that gets back into it. Dave Santi.
Nonsense, Dave. Nonsense.
You're welcome to the show. Glad you made it. Drew, meet Dave. Dave, meet Drew. Drew, Dave's another Marine. So there's 3 of us now. We're talking game shows, Dave. But yeah, so it was, I guess you say, as a kid, it really was in your fabric. We've even, kids networks needed to have game shows.
Yeah. You brought up something really powerful, and it's a memory to me that will stick in my memory. And when you said it, it's almost like you taste it, you feel it, you whatever. You had mentioned about what game shows do, and when I was younger, I had that same thing. When I was sick, my mom was very good, about taking care of me when I was sick. Get the cup of tea, have a game show in hand, and my day was all set. My morning was all set. And yeah, that was the things that you couldn't watch while you were in school, right? Hey, I wanted to watch game shows. My mom, bless her heart, she's the one that got me into doing this, because I called off on so many sick days in order to watch game shows. And that's what happened, I think. I don't know. Maybe that's what happened. Oh, Family Feud, baby. We got to talk about that too. I don't want that to escape. Yeah, Mama's Boy is right.
You want to expand on that? Go ahead and you can send it over. You can expand on that as much as you want. Brandon, just go ahead and send us a message that says that Tim's a Mama's Boy. So just letting her expand on that as much as she wants to. If you want, you can send me a message. I'll bring you on. You can go right on camera if you want to go ahead. And I busted earlier today, so I'm just returning the favor.
Yeah, I had to warn. Sean saw Brandon during a networking meeting, and I was typing to him privately. I said, "By the way, that's my girlfriend." And he said, "What?" I said, "Yeah, it's my girlfriend." And he said, "Oh, must be the humor." And so when I told her that, she kind of laughed, because that's not why she fell in love with me. So something else, buddy. I don't know what it is, but I got the charms. I don't know. I don't know. Must be the stash.
That's it. It's got to be the stash.
I don't know.
You get the whole beard.
I'm graduating. I'm still in the junior stage here. So
got a junior beard there.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. I can even. So, do you have any game show like memories of like as a kid watching a game show and being like, oh my goodness. Like I can still remember watching an episode of Price is Right. I was probably like 9, 10 years old. As a kid, my parents owned a liquor store, and then they also owned a bar.
That explains a lot.
It explains why I'm not an alcoholic. That's
actually a good reason. Yeah, my parents were open. It's why you're not an alcoholic, because of that.
Yeah, my parents were always like, it's there. You're not going to like it, but we're not going to bastardize it to where you're like,
I've had it.
I got to try this. But so as a kid, I used to sit on the cases of beer in the center of the liquor store, because that's where I spent my summers at. I hung out with my dad, and I sat on cases of beer and watched TV and ate like roast beef sandwiches and cheesesteaks as a kid. So one of the memories that I have is watching this guy, and he was a service member. Remember, he was in uniform, because you used to see the guys in uniform on the show all the time.
Right.
And the guy swept the show. He got his first one. He got the extra, like whatever it was, $100 or $500 for getting the price exactly right. Then he won a car on a showcase. Then he spun $1 twice. Then he got to the showcase showdown, and was within, I think they have to be within $500 of
I can
both
get
of them, and they get both of them, and he got $500 within both of them. And I'm like, I'm a kid, and I'm like, oh my God, he just won the entire world. He owns the world now. Like I was just, I'm 44 now, and I still remember that 9-year-old memory of seeing this guy win like everything.
yeah,
Like, and my father, being the man that he was like, "Do you know what the taxes he has to pay on all that shit is?" I'm like,
yeah.
I don't even know what you're talking about, Dad. Do you have any game show memories like that?
I do, and it's so funny. You mentioned The Price is Right, and I don't know if I have specific things like it's like a generality. So, for instance, like that little Walker dude for Price is Right, the little, and he eventually fell off the cliff. Loved those things. I love the one woman that almost got clipped by the spinning the wheel. She spun the wheel so hard that she came this close to the, and I'm like, oh my God, once I just want that one person to get clipped by the wheel and spin around. Everyone wants that. I think everyone is secretly wishing that, to get clipped by the wheel, get too close to the wheel and get stuck on it. But yeah.
So now you remember the original host of The Price is Right?
The original host.
The original host.
I hope it's Bob Barker, because if it's okay.
So Bob Barker, I don't know if you knew this. Did you know he studied martial arts with, I believe, and I have to double check it, but it was either Bruce Lee or Chuck Norris? Did you know this?
No.
Because he was having so many issues with the women jumping on him that he needed something to help keep them back or get them off of him.
No kidding.
That's a real thing.
And he always felt very prickish. I don't know if you caught that. Sometimes he was kind of mean to some of the contestants and whatever. He pushed them a little bit. I think some of the game show hosts did that. I don't know.
Well, see, now you mentioned Family Feud.
Yeah.
And that was, for the longest time, and I don't know if it's still considered this way, that was the cursed game show.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
All right, you go with it.
So we started off with Richard Dawson.
The molester.
I love Richard Dawson.
The molester.
Everyone. He was on my very favorite show called Match Game 76 or Match Game.
Yeah.
He was one of the celebrity B-list whatever people that were on there. What Family Feud had an interesting curse, if you will, and it was not necessarily a death curse, but some people did get the death curse. Started with Richard Dawson. Richard Dawson stopped, and then Ray Combs came into the picture. Ray Combs committed suicide, actually in a psychiatric hospital because of, I think, the fame and everything else, didn't have a pot to piss in and that kind of a thing. Then I think it went back to Richard Dawson. At that time, Richard Dawson was nice and plump, and he didn't care, and he wasn't there anymore. His character wasn't there. His personality wasn't there, which is another interesting point to game show hosts. If you have zero personality, like a lot of these people are just famous and they just pop them in there, you're not going to make it, and you're not going to become memorable. You don't have to be famous to become a game show host. You just have to have a good personality. Anyway, on to the second point. Then after Ray Combs and Richard Dawson, then Louis Anderson came into the picture, and Louis Anderson, and it was almost like the curse afterward. Every single person afterward just didn't really have that. They never made it. They never made the show again. Even though the show was great, it's a great model for the show. Richard Dawson, the original Richard Dawson, was most successful. After that, Louis Anderson, he ended up passing. Then there was Richard Karn, who was from Home Improvement, and he was awful. I'm sorry, I watched that too. I didn't. He was just a filler.
Right.
Then they had the guy Jay Peterman from Seinfeld, John O'Hurley or
John O'Hurley.
And he was yet another guy that was just thrown in there as like a famous actor. I'm like, what are you doing? You have to have flavor when you're a game show host. And there goes the point again. You need some flavor, and you need to have that. The rest is going to fail.
Well, Richard Dawson, let's call that what it was. He molested women on TV.
Yeah.
Like it was, and depending upon, so he was on Match Game, and he would, that was a great one where I always liked Match Game because you always felt as a kid like you were watching something you shouldn't have been, because even though it was a game show, it had a lot of innuendo going on.
They definitely did, and
And
definitely some some real racism there.
oh
Um,
yeah,
we had Nelson or Nelson Riley,
yep,
the top square there next to I can't think of her name right now, but um, yeah, and he was obviously very flamboyantly gay,
right.
and you know there was some comments. Richard Dawson was flicking around, and he was hitting everyone. They actually had an episode that wasn't shown from match 76 because of what he had said to um, one of the
Oh really?
yeah, one of the black celebrities. Yeah.
Wow. See, yeah, and Dawson. I don't know if you want to go back if you catch any other shows. He was the not the French guy, but the English guy or Scottish or something like that on Hogan's Heroes.
Yeah.
He was on Hogan's Heroes, and that's where he got his fame, and that's how he got into it. But
Yep.
now this is one that I looked up earlier because I was thinking, well, who's done the most amount of game shows? And I don't even know this guy's name, but I'll have to pull it. I'm looking at his picture right now. Who do you think's done the most game show hosting of like the most different game shows?
Most different game shows. I thought you were going to tell me Span because I think Span was either Price is Right or Jeopardy. I think.
I think Trebek I think has the.
I think he just eclipsed or had eclipsed toward the end. Had eclipsed Price is Right. I might be wrong on that one. I don't know. I'm not a game show expert. I'm just.
Shut up! You're supposed to be the expert.
I'm just kidding. But yeah.
This I don't even know this name. Bill Cullen, Cullen, Bill Cullen.
Don't know the cat.
Popularly known as the Dean of Game Show Hosts, reportedly hosted more than 20 game shows during a television career that covered 5 decades. I've never even heard of this guy.
Was he BBC?
Okay, so now I do know him. He was the host of the musical theme show. Name That Tune.
Name That Tune should only be mentioned with one gentleman.
Who's that?
Oh.
Sure, great. It's a podcast. Like dead air doesn't work well.
Yeah, dead air doesn't work good. Jim freaking Lang. He had the perfect bowl cut. He was the guy that was $100, $200, $300. Get actual cash on the show. Had the cheesy songs that no one knew the names of, like help me, Rhonda, I'm dying. These weird songs that no one knew, but it was a great show. And I as a kid knew none of the songs, but I loved the show because of it. Again, who is this clown that you mentioned? I don't know him. He did different shows, but we don't remember this guy.
See, now you talk about not know my dad. That's again, game shows and my dad, and like I said, sitting in the bar or in the liquor store with my dad. We owned a bar to it at that same time, but sitting there with my dad, and they would come up and they would be like, "So this song is deals with chickens having lips and a Maserati from 1945. I can name this in one tune." And my father's already yelling out the answer, and I'm like, look, you don't know that. You're a liar, Dad. You're lying to me right now. There's no way you know this shit. But he knew him. And I guess it's Bill Cullen. We're going to go ahead and say, add to him that he was the first host of The Price is Right also.
Wow. Okay, so I'm failing in my game show history because that's one gentleman I don't.
I don't, bro, I don't know him.
That's okay.
Like some of these I'm looking at right now. But here's the man.
So
Chuck Woolery.
I loved him. Seeing 2 and 2, baby. What a great guy. And made no apologies for his show. I loved it too. Just watch people go at it back and forth.
Oh, it's so great.
Turn around. And watch them have at it.
Love Connection was great.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you something.
Ask me.
Or I'm going to ask the audience even this. There was something that I thought about in this. So I actually did some pre-homework. But I was talking about the show Press Your Luck and Price is Right.
Yeah, you said there was a correlation.
So there's a correlation there. There was a gentleman by the name of Michael Larson who was able to cheat the show of Pressure Luck.
I
He
know
was
the story.
he found the pattern. There was a certain pattern, and he recognized the pattern. And God love the guy, figured out the pattern, watched the show day in, day out, knew exactly when to hit and stop, and won tons and tons of money. And there was a lot of stories after him, which I would love to tell you, but I don't want to get into that. But some great stories. Watch Richard Larson and what happened to his money afterwards. Some ridiculous stuff, changing $30,000 into single dollar bills so that he can win a contest that had to do something with the numbers that were on those dollar bills. I mean, some ridiculous stuff.
Oh, shit.
And then we're talking about The Price is Right. There was, Caitlin.
Caitlin remembers Bill Colin?
Yes.
Who is this Caitlin person, and how does she remember Bill Colin?
Well, this is my love's mom,
Okay.
if you will, and I'm so glad that she hopped on and said that. That's awesome.
Caitlin, you're the only person left on the planet who knows who this man is, and thank you for knowing him.
I love that.
You have saved his memory.
But there's a correlation with Price is Right. There was a Price is Right customer that ended up guessing things right to like almost a penny.
There's a movie about him.
And he all he did, again, it's just homework. Just watch the show, recognized all the prices. They didn't change all the prices. He knew every single price, cataloged all those prices, and then guessed the entire showcase, got the showcase and the other showcase. So there's a thing that I wanted to correlate. It's to poker. There was a gentleman by the name of Phil Ivey who did this thing, which was called edge sorting, and did it for $20 million with 2 casinos, and basically knew that the pattern on the back of the actually deck of cards, he knew that they were cut differently. So for instance, like if you had a 3, the 3 was cut out differently than a face card, or so on and so forth.
Really?
He recognized that and knew that. He knew that, just him, right? He also asked for a particular dealer that knew how to speak, I think it was Mandarin, and was able to talk to the dealer who was doing Baccarat, which apparently they had the same kind of games. So he had 2 requests. Those particular cards were an issue, and that this person was able to do that. Now, what he did is he had a person that was a translator that knew Mandarin and was speaking to the dealer and telling them to place the cards in a specific way or show them in a specific way. And that's all he did. He was able to recognize those cards, and he was able to have an advantage, an edge.
Really?
Like the game shows, like Michael Larson, like Price is Right, they had an edge. Is this cheating?
No.
So, by the way, Phil Ivey had to pay back 10 million of that 20 million that he had from the casino because they considered that to be cheating, when he ahead of time told the casino, this is what I want to do. I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. Can you set that up for me? Yes. Great. Awesome. Let's play.
Right.
Won money, and then they said afterward, no, you cheated. That's not fair. I take the side of both contestants. I take the side of Phil Ivey and say that that's not cheating, and that games have an inherent edge. And if you put the game out there, you should know all those edges, and you should know all your parameters. If you don't, you're in trouble.
So absolutely, we always say everything's rigged to the house. The house is going to win the most of it. But, in those scenarios, like I remember the gentleman you're talking about with Pressure Luck, because so it's funny. So there's a movie about him, and there's a documentary about the guy from Price is Right. And what's funny about the Price is Right guy for me is I remember seeing that documentary and then watching Let's Make a Deal and Price is Right, since they're back to back. And there was a trip, and it was a trip to like, I don't even remember, but whatever the trip was,
Newark?
To Newark, New Jersey. You get your own taste of, you get a bagel when you get off, we got you covered. But yeah, so this whole thing, and I remember the trips were the same, but it was like $10,100 value on Let's Make a Deal and $10,200 on Price is Right. It was like that close in the pricing where I was like, oh shit. Like even though it's out there, even though this guy, there's an entire documentary about this guy, they still don't. Cheers to you, Graham. I don't know who you are, but cheers anyway.
Sam's coming in. That's a future brother-in-law.
But the whole fact of the matter is they still knew this shit was going on, and they still don't change it.
Exactly.
Like you can't. And as far as like all those guys, I know who Phil is from watching, all the poker shows and everything. He's the asshole that sits at the end and yells at everybody for moving, and he touched his glass and all this other shit. You know, he's very angry. The only guy he never messed with was who was the real tall guy, and he was like started off as one of these guys who made his money in the IT boom in the early 2000s, and then got into gambling. And he's like real tall and he was jacked back in the day.
Oh my God.
I'd have to look it up. Like I remember him.
I can't think. I am in the poker world, but I can't think.
Yeah, he was real tall, and he was like got all of his money in the IT boom, and he used to be.
There was Duke. Could have been Duke.
I don't know. There was the Unabomber. I remember that guy.
Phil Locke. By the way, I got a chance to meet Phil Locke's current girlfriend, and I'm going to forget her name too real soon, and I don't know why because
when does that restraining order let out?
Hey, by the way, I have a fun game for you. Do you want to play a quick game?
Yes, let's play a quick game.
Okay. Jobs I've had.
Okay.
You're going to have to tell me the job Tim did not have.
Okay.
And I'm excluding about 7 that are on the list.
Sorry, folks. And we're all going to play it long. So we have 10 people watching right now. And Brandon, since you probably know the answers to this, you can. He's saying, okay, play along then, Brandon. Let's do this. All right. Jobs that Tim's had.
She will. So jobs Tim's had. Landscaper, shoe store manager, casino games dealer, rental mat manager, painter, puppeteer, security alarm salesman, home health aide, and motion simulator repairman.
Okay, so these are. I got to guess which one you didn't have.
I did not have.
Out of all that list,
landscaper, shoe store manager, casino games dealer, rental mat manager, painter, puppeteer, security alarm salesman, home health aide, and motion simulator repairman.
Okay, so can I ask questions about any of this?
Sure.
What the fuck is a mat salesman? Rental mat.
I was doing a rental mats, so that's like when you walk into a building and you see those mats that are in your entrance where they're like either you have your logo on the mats or
okay
right
all right and motion simulator.
I don't know. What's motion?
I don't know. You tell me, what the hell's a motion simulator?
So if I have to be the expert in all these things, I guess if I'm not the expert on that one thing, you're going to guess what that one is, right?
I'm probably look. I'm going with you, Brandon. If anybody else wants to give their 2 cents, I'll take a moment here for write-in votes. But I'm going to either go with anything repair-wise because you look like you sold shoes. There's little to no doubt in my mind that you look like you sold shoes. That's like I'm gonna go with that.
That was one of my first jobs, actually, believe it or not.
I'm definitely going with that. I don't. Let me see your hands real quick.
Yeah, let me get some votes if anyone was actually listening to that.
I'm not getting anything right now. We're waiting. Okay. We're waiting on the voting, but I would like to see your hands. Let's see your hands.
I definitely sold shoes. Yes. So I was not a puppeteer.
What the hell were you? Okay, so what the hell is a? I'm not sure. Look, she said it too. I'm not sure about a puppeteer.
So I had a motion. Actually, I say motion simulator repairman, which is kind of a glorified what I was doing at my job when I had a family business that had. It was called 21st Century Magic Castle. It was in Lake George, and it was a great business. We had a great family business up there. We had indoor miniature golf. We had motion simulator rides, and we had a 3D theater. We had all these things that were coming out. And the motion simulator that I was running, I was actually repairing it and taking care of it on a daily basis. It was an actual roller coaster simulator. The entire thing lifted up and actually spun you around while you were watching a video and you were going through the simulation of it.
Oh, okay. So like those things where you're like supposed to be on like a roller coaster and it's moving you and all that.
Exactly, a roller coaster simulator actually for that. You pick your own path. It would do barrel drop. It would do barrels, corkscrews. The entire thing flipped. It was quite an impressive piece of machinery. But I actually worked on that, fixed that. I actually got caught in between the machine and it got me stuck in between. It actually almost killed me.
I don't mean to laugh at your near death, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
The employees were laughing their asses off at me while I was getting stuck. I'm like,
I can't breathe. Help me.
I think they were looking for my soul death as the manager, as the O.
As the you see, that's what happens. As an O, the rest of us stand back and look and go, Didn't want to let me leave 30 minutes early the other day, huh? Did you? It was snowing, needed to get gas. Ain't that some shit? You're caught in a machine. Sorry about your luck today, pal.
Yeah. So that was my interesting life. I've been through a lot of careers, not by choice necessarily, but by just living my experience and living what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go in life. And here it brought me to being a game show host, which I am so proud of. I can't tell you. I really am.
Well, I love the idea of it, and what kind of reminded me is, when we talked about this, I knew some people that during the holiday season, because of all the stuff, somebody liked the ride. So I knew. So I just thought about it. I was like, how interesting of an idea, because I knew somebody who did one of those Zoom game shows during the holidays.
Yeah.
Which is great. And they had all the pieces to it and everything, but it's very impersonal. There's no, we had that short spell. Did you watch the and I don't even know if it's still around anymore. Did you get caught in the game show craze, the app that would come on every night? And if you could answer all 12 questions.
No, I didn't. Actually, I kind of jumped off of TV a while ago. So I get all my information from what I see now and what I want to see instead of what's fed to me, which was, that kind of thing. But haven't seen it.
QAnon?
Yeah.
QAnon? That's where all your information comes from? QAnon? Like, is that where we're going right now?
No, don't go there. Don't.
You want to know about how the government's making the frogs gay?
Let's not get into anything government or anything politics. That's why I did my business, so I don't have to talk about anything. So I can talk about fun things.
Like gay frogs.
Like gay frogs. I'd rather talk about.
But no, this was on your phone. On the all the phones had this app, and I can't remember the name of it. It was big like 2 years ago, and you would log on every time, and it was the show was only a couple of minutes. You had to answer the question right, and if you got it all the way to the last question, if you were the last person standing on the questions, there was a big prize at the end of it for like, I don't remember. Each night it was different. It might have been a $50,000 night. It might have been a $200,000 night, whatever the night was. But however many people were left, they split the prize. But if you were the only person, you got all the money. The most I ever made it to was 10 out of 12 questions I got right, and it was a neat little show. But again, it was like everything else app wise. It was here and then gone.
Right. And by the way, I just have to say the old game shows is where it's at. I'm not a big fan. There's a lot of oh, hi Diane. A lot of good people.
Fuck, you're just gonna come on every night. This is bullshit.
Listen,
everybody's here for you. Fuck this.
Don't be all jelly, man. I told you. By the way, are we going for 2 hours or is this just an hour show? I don't know what we're doing.
Well, the show's an hour. You and I are more than welcome to talk about it afterwards, but I think once the podcast goes out, I highly doubt that anybody else is going to listen to it.
Okay.
I think at 1 hour and 10 minutes, we're going to get.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yep. Fuck your whole train of thought up. Oh man.
I got all distracted with Diane here. What were we talking about there?
But we were just talking about like different game shows and how they come and they go. And you said classic game shows.
So I'm still a classic game show guy. I still think a lot of the game shows that happen now, they have some good in theory. The shows are good, but I think they're missing some of the old personality, and maybe just because I'm an old school guy and I like the old school game shows, and that's what I grew up with. But I still think there's something missing in all these new game shows. I don't know. Maybe you can agree with me, maybe not. I don't know.
You know what? I agree with you because, like I said, I went back and was looking up classic game show things or stuff that's out there. And look, right now, you turn on the TV, you get Let's Make a Deal's on at 10, Price is Right at 11, 7:30. You can watch Family Feud. There's a couple of off hour, once in a while you might get the one with Howie Mandel and the briefcase, which I like that when I get into that.
Oh yeah.
You get those kind of things, but it's not like before where, this individual channel was playing Love Connection.
Yeah.
You might flip over to this chat. Like I don't think all the other channels, like every channel used to have game shows.
You're right. And now it's almost dedicated to just the game show
CBS,
network, or it's just CBS or whatever. And it's definitely time slotted still. So they still have the time slot, which is
right.
Makes sense. It's important. But you're right. It's not like it was before, and that's part of it. Everything is not like it was before.
Right.
But I don't want to be preachy in that way, because I think there is some merit to some of the game shows. But excuse me for a second. I'm sorry.
What are you doing? Like you do know that like you playing that into the microphone is not. Why are you shaving that? That's horrible. This is like, folks, if you can't see, you're not watching this and you're listening for whatever odd reason, I have to mute you. Like I had to mute Tim for a minute. I had to mute him. That was so loud.
So this is going to be my new game show look.
Like what was like a fucked up beard?
I just drew the mustache. I was trying to get to the mustache. This is the Roger.
God. Brandon, please help us. Is she in the house at this moment?
This is my office, man.
Like, is she there?
All fun and games here.
Brandon, if you're there, please stop him. We'll be politically correct and call it disassociated personalities. But
and now you think I have multiple personalities, or no? Are you sure?
I don't know. Which one am I talking to? I don't know. Like, thank you. Look, you don't have to apologize. You don't have to apologize for this behavior. I don't even know it. Like that was so random.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to go at that moment. So, that was so random. Moving on now.
Moving on to other things.
Like God, I would never look at this. Like, for those of you who don't watch the live show and just enjoy the podcast, I just want you to know.
I would love to have the big beard, and I can't grow the big beard, so I kind of did a messed up shaving thing here. But the one thing that I want to recircle with everything with all these game shows is that I really have a passion for this, and there's something just drink, guys. I really have a passion for this, and there's something to be said for game shows in general, and where I think people are at right now. I'm getting lost in this in the talk now too. But I really love I love game shows so much, and I love talking about them. And it's just a passion of mine. I'm so glad to be talking about it with you here today. I'm sorry I did the shaving thing late. That maybe wasn't the best thing to do because I look awful now. But
I got nothing.
Oh.
I'm just glad it was your face and you didn't decide to shave your beans on my show or something like that. Like that would have just been added to it. Like I don't get any residuals from Manscaper or whatever the hell it is. So
No.
all I was gonna say is my beard's looking really good lately because one of our prior guests, Doug Smythe from Phoenix Shaving, I finally went and got into his stuff, and he's got these like beard soaps, and you just it's strictly for your beard.
Is that the gentleman that you had on when I was talking about the raising? Yes.
So I bought that razor. I went out and I I went out and I bought the razor. I would much rather, now that I've used the wet shaving old school, I get a closer shave with that than I ever did with like a Gillette or a Bic or something like that.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about it is that I'm not like rubbing on my face and going like and doing all this. It's one swipe, and then back. Yes, I have a big ass beard, but I always shave because you have to. Like, people don't realize, like, when you have a beard, unless you're going for the full Grizzly Adams and you want that thing like up on your cheekbones and everything else,
Yeah.
you have to shave it. But yeah, Doug's stuff from Phoenix Shaving, I can't I I can't even
That
begin.
was a mistake. I didn't realize I was going to do that, and it was going to be that loud. And oh my god, now it's
That's why I muted your mic. So we're gonna get ready to wrap this up here, folks. Tim, people want to find you. People want to have you either for a corporate event. They want to talk to you about the product itself. And how can they contact you? How can they get in touch with you? And you will have a proper shave.
I will have a proper shave. And so, yes, please get a hold of me at venuehaha.com. I'm available on Facebook. I'm available on LinkedIn. And I'm always out and about doing networking events. So I'm always looking for people to engage with and do collaborations with. I'm doing some fundraisers right now, looking to get into doing a lot of fun work with other people. Diane again. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with this business, and I'm taking it to the extreme. And today was just a wild day. I did some shaving. I did some cross-dressing. I think it was just a promotion kind of a thing. They got a little weird toward the end. I'm sorry, but and I got a little bit nervous, of course. But again, I'm passionate about these games. I'm passionate about what I want to do and what I want to do for companies. And it's all about connecting people and connecting those businesses right now that are going through a lot of trouble, and they're going through a lot of they're not engaging. And they're not doing the things that they need to do right now with their peeps. So that's what I'm here for. I'm here to connect those peeps.
Do we want to give Watt a plug here?
Absolutely. Let's give Woke Ass Dating a
Cody. Now, I don't know what the hell it is, and I wish, like, I was trying to find it. And if you know how to build an app, we got other shit to talk about. Because I was gonna if Rick would have remembered, he's got a fucking straight razor out now, folks. He's like, really, like, do you not have a bathroom? Like, what is going on here? I'm so confused right now. Like, I have no idea. Oh my God. Like, I can't even explain it to you, folks. You'll have to watch the live to understand. Look, Cody, see, I should have had you on here, Cody. You could have helped him out, you know. Some form of polite and, you know, civilness in between us two animals.
Yeah, exactly, because it's bothering me because I have OCD, as girlfriend knows. Woke Ass Dating is it's a collaboration I started with Cody, and the best part about it is she reached out to me because she was looking for something, and she I keep on reading.
Stop reading. I don't even know how to do it.
I know. She was looking for something that was fun and looking for someone to do that, like myself. And we came up with the idea of becoming or doing this dating. I'm becoming really worried. I'm sorry. Becoming really nervous. I'm sorry. Oh, Jesus. Lost myself.
Come on. Talk to me.
Let me restart. So,
all right. Restart.
An intentionally built community that we had started because we really have a passion for bringing people together. I have a passion for bringing people together in a fun way. Cody has a fun way of bringing people together in her own way through Soul Sprout, which she does through. Oh geez, I'm just losing myself. We're losing ourselves on this podcast here. I'm losing it because I shaved.
So, well, what's the idea here behind Woke Ass Dating? Let's, because I just wanted to hear about it because I keep hearing you talk about it. We do a lot of networking events together. That's how Tim and I got to know each other. Is we do a lot of networking events around the Albany area. So that's how we got to know each other and got to talking. So, what I want to know though is what's the basic idea here?
Okay. I'm losing my words, and I apologize for that because I'm getting really nervous. And I don't usually get this way, so I'm getting nervous. But the whole idea is that, yes, we're looking for people, perfect, people that are looking for finding dating, but they're on their own personal development path as well. So we're not just looking for hookups. When Cody and I first started doing this woke ass dating, we sat down together and thought about the ideas that were important to us in a normal dating. What things that we didn't like. We didn't like the idea of people swiping left and people just, there you go, perfect.
So I'll read this. Woke ass dating is an intentionally built community that connects like-minded singles. As my phone just crashes to the floor, it makes a hell of a fucking noise here. Like-minded singles in a new, fun way. Woke ass dating uses interactive modalities. That's a big ass word. Like games, mindset growth tools, heart-opening discussions, and expert dating tips that foster personal development as well as nurturing a healthy bond between you and your matches. Disclaimer. Please note, our use of the word woke is a play on words for those awakened to the spirituality and personal development and not affiliated with the political and social matters. Being woke to personal development and spirituality. Meaning, if you're woke, you dig it. William Melvin Kelly. And here we dig personal development, spirituality, and love connections. Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point.
So beautifully said. We had someone that commented on one of our posts, and
So this ain't a hookup site?
they said that we were not woke. And as we mentioned the word woke, we take a little bit of a fun spin on it. And we're not politically woke. And if we are, maybe we are too. But we are looking to connect people, and we are looking to do it in the best way possible. We don't think that websites can do it. We think that we're able to do that, and we're doing it in a fun way. We put people in front of each other to do activities and games and to do some personal development. So Cody will be doing some great things with her dance and with some personal healing. I'll be doing some things with personal healing through laughter and enjoyment that way. And that's how we're looking to get people together. And I don't know what happened there. There was like a 10-minute thing where I went like nuts or crazy, and I lost myself. So I'm sorry there.
That's all right.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back. My name is Tim Sokol. I'm with A-Venue and other things that. So I think the mustache thing.
No problem. You decided to shave, and it kind of messed you up a little bit. It happened. Wow. For a moment, you thought you were in your bathroom as I poured drink number 3 towards the end of our day here.
My goodness. But Sean, I wanted to say one thing to you, and I wanted to end up in a really good note. First of all, I love your podcast. I watch it. I adore it. I feel like I want to comment every single second when you have guests on. You have really interesting guests on, and you're able to flip. You're able to go from documentary style to talking to this
game
guy,
shows?
to game shows, to talking to a drag queen, and I love it. And I also want to throw out some inspiration. All my people here that are supporting me today, that means so much to me. You have no idea. All my networking people, my inspiration being my dad who passed, my family, of course, who always supports me, and Brandon, who got me into this whole idea of believing myself so I can get to do the game shows. I would not been able to do that without her, and I wanted to make sure that I said that. So,
well, that is phenomenal. So is that your final words there, young man?
Well, I don't know if there's a final word. I'm sure we're going to still be talking, but
well,
yeah.
that'll be after the show. I mean, like right here, yeah. Final words. Like, yeah. So that's your final words for everyone. You get the last words there.
Sure. And I hope everyone had a good night tonight. I hope everyone had a great time listening in on us, and keep on listening to this guy. He's got some really good shows. He had a documentary. Listen to his earlier shows. He had some really cool. Something on Jaya there. What was her last name? Jaya Wirtz?
Jaya Wirtz. That was last week. She is a sweetheart. Please go check that out. Her documentary is Conviction.
Love crime. Love that. Brandon and I love that genre, and can't wait to watch it together, actually.
Yeah, it's like 21 minutes. It's phenomenal. Folks, as I always tell you, if you enjoy the show, please check out our Instagram, like and share our Instagram. Trying to grow that thing. We actually have the Instagram is at the Above the Bar podcast. Our Twitter is at the Above the Bar 4. We actually have a TikTok now. The TikTok is the same name, the Above the Bar Podcast. If I can grow that thing to 1,000, I guess I get the opportunity to go live, and I'll take the show live on there also. So please take the time, even our email. If you have any questions, you know somebody who would be a great guest, you can email me at the Above the Bar Podcast at gmail.com. We still have the merchandise that only I pay for and only I buy. Someday the rest of you will buy this shit, but right now no one else is buying it. So we'll go ahead and mention it again. Go ahead and go on to TeePublic. And if you look up the Above the Bar Podcast, you see it scrolling across your screen right now. Some great t-shirts on there designed by me, created by a friend of mine, Pat Quinn, who I've known Pat damn near, well, now over 30 years. Pat did my designs for me, so give him a little bit of love. And again, if somebody more than 2 of you buy the freaking t-shirts and then take pictures and hashtag them with the Above the Bar Podcast, and I'm like, oh, I like you the most, I'm going to send you a nice little gift bag because, again, I'm the only one that's buying this shit. So that being said, Tim, you got any last words for us?
Follow my man here on Above the Bar Podcast. Don't do it later. Do it right now. You're going to say you're going to do it later. You're not going to do it later. Like him and do all that fun stuff. And, of course, check me out at my games. I have a lot of fun games that I'm doing virtually. I deal poker for anyone who's looking to do any kind of poker events. Anything fun. If you have any idea, I'm customizing too. I'll do anything. So trivia and such.
All righty, folks. Thank you for being here, and be sure to push your stool in.
This has been an Earplug Podcast presentation, found on earplugpodcast.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, and wherever your favorite podcasts are found.